Hello YouTube, welcome back to the channel. So in today's tutorial, actually we're going to begin a new series on my channel. So we're going to be building a series of building a dashboard. So if you're anyone who is interested in building their own dashboard, then this tutorial is for you. So we're going to be going ahead and learn how to build a dashboard. We're going to first get data, we're going to analyze the data, and then build a back-end application, which is just basically going to be an API, right? So and then after that we'll build a front-end application. So the front-end application will make a request to the back-end application, which is going to be the API, and the API is going to send it back to it the data, and then you're going to visualize the data in the front end. You're going to be using Nextjs to build this project, and you're going to, for the back end, you're going to be using FastAPI. So if I just go in my code base and I show you how it's going to look like, so we have the back end application running right here. So let me just try to zoom in a bit. So let me just zoom in a bit like this. So we have the back end application here, and then we have the front end application here. So we have the front end application, which is built using Nextjs, and we have the back end application, which is built using FastAPI. Okay, so we're going to build those two applications and have them communicate with each other. And so the back end is going to send the data to the front end, and the front end is going to visualize the data in form of these different charts. And for the tool that you're going to use to visualize these charts is going to be a tool called Chart.js. So we're going to be using Chart.js to visualize all these charts. So the data is coming from the back end, and you're going to visualize it using Chart.js inside of a Nextjs application. So what are we going to be going over? So we're going to be going over, first of all, we're going to go over and learn how to analyze the data. So this data is a data about a supermarket data set. So it's from Kaggle right here. So if you are interested, I'm going to leave the link to this Kaggle page right here, so you guys can have access to this the data set basically. So you can read about it. It's just a data set from a supermarket that has different branches located in different places, and they sell different products. So I'm just going to get the data set and try to analyze the data set, and then from there we're going to go ahead and build an API to return the data that you're interested in, and then the front end is going to make that request, receive the data, and then be able to visualize it using Chart.js. So about analyzing the data, we're going to be using Google Colab to analyze the data. So we're going to be loading the data, analyzing the data, looking at different aspects of the data, and then from there we're going to go ahead and build an API to actually analyze, return to us the data that you're interested in, and then be able to visualize it in the front end in the Nextjs application using Chart.js. So if you're new to the channel, please kindly consider subscribing, liking this video, and sharing this content with anyone. Okay, so in this video we're going to go over the first video in this series. We're going to learn how to build the back-end application. We're going to learn how to analyze the data and then build the back-end application. So if you're anyone who is interested in data science, data analytics, or anything like that, this project is a good project for you to begin with, because you can show that you can build both back-end application and also front-end application, right? So that's a good add-on to your resume or anything that you are pursuing. Okay, so let's get started with it. So let me just go ahead and you're going to go in here, and I'm going to go ahead and simply create a new Colab book. So if you know what Google Colab is just a platform whereby you can analyze data, perform different data science stuff using on the web without having to download anything or install any library. Okay, so you don't have to be a data scientist to follow along with this tutorial. If you're just picking out if you're a web developer, then this is a good tutorial also to learn the basics of data analysis and all that. Okay, so just go to Google Colab and just search for colab.research.google.com, and then it will bring you to this page right here. So once you're in this page, you can go to file, and in file you can just click on new notebook, and then that will go ahead and create for you a new notebook. So okay, so once the new notebook is created, that's we're going to be going ahead and analyzing the data. So let's just wait for this to load up, and then we can go ahead and analyze the data. Okay, so let me just close this tab. I don't need it anymore, so I'm just gonna close that one. And yeah, so once I have this loaded, so I went ahead and downloaded the data set from Kaggle, which you can find it from this link right here. You can download the data set, and then once you have the data set downloaded, you can upload it to your Google Drive, or you can upload it to Google Colab itself. But I'm just going to upload it. I already uploaded it to my Google Drive, so you guys don't even have to download the data set if for this data analysis part. But later on, you actually need to have the data set downloaded when you're going to be building the back end application. Okay, Okay, so once we have that there, we can simply go ahead and copy this right here. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this right here. So this is going to be the link to the data set, and this is going to be the data. Let me actually show the data set in my Google Drive. This is how the data set looks like. So that's the different branches, the cities, the gender, the profit, the product line, the unit price, quality, taxation, total date, the time, the payment, the COGS, right, cost of goods sold. COGS stands for cost of goods sold. We also have the gross marginal percentage. We have the gross income, we have the rating and all that stuff, right? So this is going to be available on the in the link. It's going to be in the description to this note to this file right here. Okay, so once there, even if you go click on the link, you can simply click on the download to download this file, because you're going to be needing it in the future video. So you can just go ahead and download it. Okay, but for now I'm just going to show how to read it without having to download anything. Okay, so let me just go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and copy this. So let's first of all we need to go ahead and import our pandas. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead here, go back to my notebook. I'm going to give my notebook a name, so just going to go ahead and click here, and then you can just say supermarket data. Let me just call data analysis underscore tutorial. Okay, just like that. So once I have this, I'm going to go and create a cell, and I'm going to move this cell above. So I'm going to place this to move it above, and then in here you can just click on it, and you can write markdown inside of here. So if you're not markdown, don't worry, it's nothing that you have to worry about. So this is supermarket. I hope supermarket is one word. So supermarket data analysis analysis project, let's say tutorial, whatever, call it anything you want. Just give it a basic title, so tutorial, and then just run that. So to run the cell, you just have to run this, you just have to just go ahead and click on I think you can run it many ways. You can go ahead and click on I think you can click run. Okay, let me just go in here. You can just go ahead and press shift and enter on your keyboard to run it. That's the short way of running it. There's another way of running it by using one of these, but I currently don't remember because I'm so used to pressing shift and enter. So just use the shift and enter and you should be fine. So just hit shift and enter and that should run it for you. Okay, so let's go ahead and import pandas as PD. So pandas is a tool that is used in Python to analyze data, right, to read data into a data frame, to read a CSV file, to read an Excel file, and to read all that. We use pandas. Okay, so let's just give it a bit of time for this to import pandas. So once we have pandas imported, right, good. So what I want to go ahead and do is read the data frame. So I'm just going to go ahead and simply copy this right here, and just go back here and simply paste it here. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and run it. Let me just make another cell here. I'm going to call it a text cell, and I'm going to call this one read, or let's say load data. So load data set, just like that. Okay, so I can just press shift and enter to run that as well, and also here I can press shift and enter to run that as well. So we just declared the URL, and the URL is from here, right, from everything from here. If you copy and paste it on a new tab, you should get access to this notebook right here. So you can even copy this and then replace it here. Okay, so just make sure that you type it exactly like this, because if you don't, then you won't be able to read the file. Okay, so make sure that you type it exactly like this, whereby from this part until the end of the beginning of this string is the URL. So the URL to this notebook that we have right here, and the other ones, the /view equals to USP equals to sharing. All that you have to leave it as it is, and also everything here remains the same. Okay, so once you have this done, you can pause the video and simply type this out, and then once you have this done, you can press enter and to roll that file. Okay, so let me just repeat once again. Everything going this way, right, everything I have highlighted is just the link to this file right here. Okay, and the share part, everything else remains the same. Okay, so once I have this done, I'm just going to say df, and df is going to be pd.read_csv, and then just pass in the path that you want to read, and you can do df.head just to see the first 5 rows of that data set. So once you have read the data set, we have read the data into what we call a data frame in pandas, or data, basically data science, we call it data frames. So you have read the data, which is this CSV file, right? You have read this CSV file into a data frame, basically a pandas data frame, and that's what the df stands for, short data frame. Okay, so you can see we have everything as it is in here, right? So we have everything as it is in there. So this is how the data look like. Now let's go ahead and see what we need to do next. So we have looked at the data. We can also do a df.tail to check the last five columns. So df.tail, and that should return to us the last 5 rows from the bottom, while the df.head return to us the first 5 rows from the very top. Okay, now that we've looked at, let's go ahead and examine the data types. So df.dtypes, dtypes, and then let's run that. So it should return to us the different data types of each of these columns. Okay, so for object it says string data type, so all these are strings, right? These are strings, and then the total is a float, the tax is a float, the quantity is an integer, the unit price is a float, right? And yeah, basically that's it. And then we have the COGS, cost of goods sold, which is the also float, the gross marginal margin percentage, also a float value, and all of that. Rating is a float value, right? Basically a number, right? Yeah, so that's basically the different data types. Okay, so once you have looked at the data type, now you can look, if you look closely at the date data type, right? It's not of type date, it's not of type, in Python it's a date type, right? But now you can see it is an object type. An object type basically means it's a string. So now you have to convert this into dates if you want to work with it. So let's go and actually do that. So df, and you're going to refer to the date column. So you have to say capital D, because here it is capital D, right? So D equals to pd dot to underscore date time, right? And then you're going to pass in df, and then grab the date, that the date that we want. So this basically is going to convert the dates time column into date time, and it's going to reassign it back to the date column. Okay, so once we do that, we can go ahead and simply check the df.dtypes now to check if it has been changed. So actually it's dtypes and not dtypes, so dtypes, just like that, and run that once again. So now you can see now the date column is now of type datetime 64. Great. So once we have that done, now let's move on to the other part. And this other part is that if you look at the data that we have, right, we have time, right? We have the different times that we have. So if you look here, we have the time, the date, and then give us the time, right? So I want to convert this time into an hour instead. So I want to convert it into a date time, and then from the date time I want to extract the hour from it. So I'm going to go ahead and do the following. So all this thing that you're doing right now is called data pre-processing. So even if you're not a data scientist, don't worry, just follow along. If you have any question, you can research on Google, or you can let me know in the comment section below, in case my explanation is not that in-depth for you, because I really don't want to bore you with all the data science stuff. I just want us to do a quick data analysis, just to show how you can do a quick data analysis. Take the data, build an API, and then return the data to the front end, where you build the Chartjs to visualize it. Okay, so when you say hour, and the hour is going to be equals to pd.to underscore date time, right? You're going to say df, and then you're going to say time. So we're going to convert the time into date time. So once we do that, now we can simply go ahead and do a df we can do a df let's do a df.head, and let's see. So once I go ahead, so this is df and not dt, so df. Once I do that, I can go ahead and run the code. So once I run the code, now you should have a new column called hour, and you can see that the time, right, the date is the current date, right, the current date of which I'm recording this video. So it's 2020 July, and then 2017, and then the time is the time is the time that has been specified right here. So it's going to use the current date, and it's going to get the hour from this from this column right here. Now I'm not interested in the date part, like the year, the month, and then the day. I'm not interested in that, so I'm only going to go ahead and grab the I'm going to say .d type, and then .hour. So I want to grab only the hour, right, which is going to be here, is going to be 13008, right, 13:08, right? So let me just run that again. So once that is done, you can see now we have the hour right here. This is the 13th hour, this is the 10th hour, and you can see it matches the time value from here, right? So this is the 13th hour, so it's 13, the 10th hour, because it's in 24-hour clock time. Okay, so once we have this done, we're going to use this to see, or during which hour of the day do people buy more goods. That's why I'm interested in this hour. I want to see which hour of the day is the busiest, right? That's what I want to check for. That's why I'm converting this into hour. Okay, So once we have that done, now let's go ahead and begin to analyze the data. So this is some data pre-processing that we just done. So you can do df dot you can do is null, and then you can do dot sum to check if there are any missing values or null values, right? So we don't have any missing values, so great. So once we have it, let's go ahead and move on to the data analysis part. I don't want to spend much time dealing with the data pre-processing, so let's do the data analysis part, which is just we call this in data science exploratory data analysis. So I'm just going to go ahead, click on this the cell here, and then I'm going to click on the text, and it's going to give me a text, and I'm going to call this this is going to be exploratory data analysis part. Okay, so the first data exploratory data, I want to go click on this cell and then click another text to add another text, and this is going to make it three hashtags, and then we're going to go ahead and simply say total sales. So total sales per branch. So we're going to try to get the total sales per branch. So if you're worried about, okay, what is this, why are we giving three hashtags here? So this is just similar to HTML heading tags, right? So we have 6 heading tags in HTML: H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, and then up to 6, right? So it's the same thing right here, but this is called markdown. And so if you use two, you see down up here we have used two asterisks, 2, right? And this is the same as using a H2 tag, and this is the same as using a H3 tag. So you can see the H3 tag. So this this H3, it is under, and this H2 is under this. So this H3 tag is under this H2 tag. That's basically. So if I minimize this, then it also gets minimized, right? So that's basically it. So if I go up here, because we have done the exploit data analysis, so if we minimize this, minimize this, you can see it minimizes that part. So it keeps our code really organized. So now we are into the data exploratory part. So I'm just going to open this because I will refer to some of these columns later on. So once we are into the data exploratory analysis part, what I want to do right here is I want to find the total number of sales that each branch makes. So if you look at our data set, we have the different branches, right? So we have the different branches: branch A, branch B, and branch C, right? And there are different cities in which the branches are located, and all that information. Okay, now what I want to go ahead and do is calculate the total sales per branch. So I'm going to say total underscore sales underscore per so let me just say total sales by underscore branch. So what is we're going to do, we're going to say df, and we're going to group group by, right? We're going to group our data by the branch field. So branch field. So if you look inside of our data, we have a column called branch. So we're going to group the data into the different branches. So branch A will be grouped together, branch B will be grouped together, branch C will be grouped together, branch B will be grouped together. So we're grouping the data into the different branches, and then from there we'll find the total sales each branch, right? So after that, after grouping it, I want to get the total. So I want to get the total column. So let me say total. Let me just actually run this, and let's see. Let me just go down here, and let me just say total underscore sales underscore by underscore branch, just like that. And let me run this, and let's see what we get. So total sales by branch, it says that name total sales by branch is not defined. Okay, maybe I made a typo, so let me just copy this right here and simply paste it here and run that cell again. So now that we run it, we can see we get back a group by object. So now we have to go ahead and grab which column that you're interested in. So I'm interested in the total total sales of each column, because if you go up here and you look at our data set, we have a column called total, which gives us the total sales of each of the branches. So you have grouped by the branches, and you're getting the total sales of each branch, and you're getting the sum of it, because we want the sum of it, right? So you're getting the sum of it. Now if I run it, now this return to me the different branches and the total sales that each had. So we have branch A, which had a total sales of let me see, 106,200, and then we have branch B, and then we have branch C, right? So we have that data right there. So what I want to go ahead and do is actually pass this data into a dictionary that we can return to the front end. Okay, so to do this, what I'm going to first go ahead to do, I'm going to get the different labels, and we call this one labels, right? So these are indexes. So A, B, and C are the indexes of this series that we got. So this is called a series data type in Pandas, but I'm not going to go into depth about it, because this is really not a data science tutorial, but more of a combination of the both, right? So even this, anyone can follow along. Don't have to be too data science to follow along. excuse me. So once I have this, I'm going to get the total branch total sales. Okay, so to do that, I'm just going to go here and just say branch underscore total underscore sales is going to be equals to the total underscore sales underscore by underscore branch, right? Total sales by branch dot values, and then to the values, you're going to simply go ahead and say dot to lists. That should return to us the list of, or to convert it into a list. But if you just go ahead and simply run branch underscore total underscore sales, let's see what we get. So we get back this right here, right? So it's a numpy array. So this is a numpy array. So if you don't know what numpy is just a library in Python that is commonly used in data science field. I'm not going to go into depth on what numpy basically is, okay? But it's just a numpy array, and numpy arrays because they're just kind of like C arrays in Python. That makes data speed up Python, because you might have known that Python can be a bit slow using Python lists. Also they have this kind of C arrays in Python using numpy. So I'm not going to go into depth into that, so I'm just going to convert this into a Pythonic list. So I'm going to say list and then simply run that. So once I run this, it's now going to return to us a Pythonic list, which is this right here. So that's what I want, right? So once I get that information, I'm just going to go ahead and try to show you what the return information is going to look like. So I'm going to say return underscore total underscore sales underscore branch underscore by underscore branch equals to we're going to create a dictionary, and you're going to have labels. So I'm going to say labels, and you're going to use this in the front end, and its labels is going to be the branch names, and we don't actually have the branch names yet. So to grab the branch names, I'm going to go up here and create another code cell, and I'm going to say branch underscore names, and this is going to be equals to the total underscore sales, right? To the total sales by branch dot we're going to get simply the index, and we're going to say to list. We're going to convert it to a list, so it just print out the branch underscore names just like that. And if you run it, you should get the different names. So the branch, which is branch A, branch B, and branch C. So the branches are going to be, the labels are going to be the branch underscore names, just like that. And you're also going to have the data, and the data is going to be branch underscore total underscore sales, just like that. The data there, like how much sales each branch had, and you're going to have a label for each of those branches, and you're going to use all of this in the front end later on. So I'm going to give it a label, and you're going to give it a label of total sales. Label is just because the title, right? The title that you're going to be using for our graphs right here. So this total sales by branch, and that's what you're going to be giving the title to. So our label is going to be total sales per branch, and which is something that I also wrote right here if you look at it, right? Yeah, so that's basically it. And let me just go here and simply run the return underscore total underscore sales by branch, and if you run it, that's returned to us a dictionary. We have the data, which is the number of sales. We have the label, which is the title we're going to use for our title in our graph in the front end, and we also have the labels for each of those branches, right? Yeah, so that's basically it. So sorry for the bell noise. If you had any bell ringing, that's just a chapel which is next to where I stay, so that was ringing their bell. I don't know. Yeah, so it's on Sunday, so the Catholic church, they are ringing the bell, so sorry for that in case it distracted anything. But let's move on to it. So this is how I want the structure of the data that you're going to be returning to the front end to look like. We have a data, we have a label, and we have labels, and you're going to use that in the front end, as you can see here. So this data that I have just analyzed here, right, is what you're going to be using to draw this graph right here, right? So branch A, branch B, branch C, and then you're getting the title is total sales per branch, which is what we have specified here, right? So it's just basically the same thing that you're going to do. So now we have looked at a basic example of what I want the data to look like. So now let's go ahead and try to analyze the sales by gender. Okay, so to do that, I'm just going to go click on this and then click text right here, and it's going to be a h3 tag. So I'm going to say three hashtags and then space, and then we say sales by gender. So now let's go ahead and learn how to extract sales by gender. So to extract the sales by gender, so if you look back into our data set, right, we have the column for gender, right? I think is gender column, let me see where that is. Okay, it's here. So we have female and male, right? Yeah, so you can even get the unique. We have female and male. Just keep it simple. We have female and male. If you want to check that, you can go ahead and and check that you can do a df and then grab the gender column. So gender is capital J, right? So you have to keep that, and then you can say dot unique, and if you run this, it should return to you all the unique values inside of the gender column, and it's basically male and female, right? We don't have any other gender inside of the gender column. Okay, so now I want to get the sales by gender, like how much males are buying, how much females are buying, and all that. So first of all, I'm going to group the data into males. Males will be grouped into 1 and females will be grouped into 1. We grab the total sales and return the sum of it. That's basically what you're going to do. So I'm just going to go ahead and say sales. I'm going to say sales underscore by underscore gender is going to be because df dot group by, right? You're going to group by, and I'm going to simply pass in my df, and going to group by the gender. So gender, and we're going to go ahead and say group by. Okay, I don't have to pass in. Sorry, my bad. So I'm just going to delete that, and we're going to group by the gender, and then we're going to grab the total, right? The total sales from each that is made, basically the total sales that is made to each of this gender, and you're going to grab the sum of that, and then you can print it out if you want, total sales by underscore gender, and then you can run that, and that should return to you how much males bought, how much females bought, and all of that. Okay, so now that you have this data, I want to return this data to the front end so that you can be able to analyze the data to see how much males bought, how much females bought, and all of that. I think I have it somewhere here down. Yeah, you can see sales by gender, how much females bought, how much males bought. So I want to go ahead and grab that information and then use it to plot this graph when you move into the front end part. Okay, so we have grabbed that information. I want to convert it into something like a dictionary that I can return the front end. So to do that, we're just going to simply, let's take what we have done. First of all, let's grab the indexes, and the indexes are these values right here, the male and the female. So let's grab the indexes. I'm going to say gender underscore names. Let's call it gender names, and it's going to be sales underscore by underscore gender dot index dot to list. Convert that to list, and you can see gender underscore names, just like that. And if you run it, that's returned to us the name of each of those gender, which is basically the male and the female instead of a list, right? So great, now that we have that information, I want to go ahead and grab now the values of each of those and convert it into a Pythonic list. So to do that, I'm going to say gender underscore count. All right, gender, let me just give it a more descriptive name. I'm going to say gender sales, gender sales. Yeah, I'm just clicking gender sales, and I'm going to simply go ahead and simply do sales underscore by underscore gender, and I'm going to get the value, right? The value, and I'm going to get the convert it into the values, and then convert it into a Pythonic list right here. And you can see gender underscore sales, just like that. Then we run this cell, and let's see what we get. So we have the value right here, so each of those cells, right? So you can see here you have male, the female, and here it has corresponding value of this much, and you have male right here, and it has its corresponding value of this much. So now I want to convert this into a Pythonic dictionary that you can return to the front end using FastAPI. Okay, so I'm going to say return underscore sales by underscore gender, and this is going to be equals to the following. So I'm going to create a dictionary, and you're going to have labels. Let me get that spelling right. So labels, and the labels is going to be the following. So I'm going to say gender underscore names, gender names, yeah. And then you're going to have the data, so data, and the data is going to be following. So data is going to be simply let me just call it gender. We call it gender, right? Gender underscore sales, and then you're going to have the label, which is going to be the title of that plot, and you can just give it a title, right? You can say total sales by gender, and this is also going to be the title of the graph when you plot it in the front end. Okay, so once we have this done, I can simply go ahead and simply print return underscore sales underscore by gender, and then simply run it, and let's see what we get. We should now get back a dictionary that looks just like this. So this is what we're going to be going ahead and return to the front end. So if you look at our code properly, you can see that you're just repeating the same steps over and over again, right? And in programming, it's a bad thing to repeat the same thing over and over again. So what you're going to go ahead and do is simply create a function, and then call this function to return to us basically we tell it what to group by, what columns that you're interested in, the title is going to be used for the label, and then it's going to return to us a dictionary like this, right? So instead of just repeating the same thing over and over again, then we're going to go ahead and simplify our work and by using a more better approach. So to do this, I'm going to go down here and I'm going to create another text file, and I'm going to give it h3 right, and I'm going to let me just call it function definition. Let's call it anything you want. So in the function definition, I'm going to have a function right here. I'm going to call it univariate analysis. So univariate underscore data underscore analysis, data analysis. Okay, so if you know what univariate data analysis is, so univariate data analysis is a part of univariate data analysis is a type of data analysis whereby you analyze only one specific column instead of our data. So if you are I don't want to go into depth about this because not everybody's going to watch the tutorial is going to be a data scientist, right? So if you are interested in learning the base of data science or data analysis, I have a series on data analysis. It's about 13 videos, quite short, 5-minute videos. So just watch that tutorial. It should give you a very basic solid foundation of data analysis, okay? Basics basically of data analysis, statistics, and all that information. So I'm just going to say group by, and I'm going to group by the group by, right, what you want to group by, and it's going to be of type string. So I'm going to use the Python type hints, right? So if you're if you are still new to type hints in Python, I have a whole tutorial on type hints in Python. You can check my channel. If I remember, I'm gonna leave the link in the description. Yeah, if I don't, can you remind me? I'll just send you the link, but you can find the course on type hints on Python on my main channel page. Okay, so we say interested underscore columns. Excuse me. So interested column is going to be of type string again. So str stands for string, and you're going to have a title. The title is also going to be of type string. Okay, so we're going to pass in three string arguments whenever calling this function. So I'm going to say group by underscore data is going to be df dot group by, and then you're going to simply group by, and then you're going to go ahead and pass in the group by that we want whatever I want to group by. So group by. Okay, so we group by the column that you're interested in, and then we grab the interested columns. We're going to say interested underscore column, right, column, interested column, and then after that you're going to go ahead and grab the sum, right? This is what we have done so far, and then we're going to sort it in ascending order, meaning basically sort we're going to say sort values, and you're going to say ascending is going to be equals to false. So we're going to sort it in descending order, means from the highest to the lowest, right? Descending order. Okay, so we're going to say ascending is false, means that descending is going to be true, right? So label underscore names, and the label names is going to be group data. So group by data, and again group by data dot index dot to list. This is what we have done so far. We're doing the same thing, and after that I'm going to say data, and data is going to be group by, right? So we're going to say group by underscore data. So group by data dot values dot count dot to lists, right? So we get back the data, and then for finally we're just going to say return underscore data is going to be equals to return data is going to be what you're going to return, right? You're going to be having a dictionary having the following. So we say labels, and the labels are going to be the different label underscore names that you get. So label names, and we're going to have the data, and the data is going to be just basically the data, and then you're going to have the label, which is going to be the title, right? To say the title the user passed in. After that, you're going to simply return underscore data right here. Okay, good. So that's basically our function, and this function will help us to simplify a lot of stuff. So you're guys going to be repeating the same thing over again. We just use Python to do that for us. Okay, so once we have this done, let's go ahead and try to use this function that we have created to try to get the gross income by branch. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead, click on this, and I'm going to go ahead and create a test file, and it's going to be a h3 tag, and I'm going to simply say this is going to be the gross income by branch, and then run that. So in the gross income by branch, what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to say gross underscore income underscore data. So this is going to be, if you're going to call our univariate univariate function right here, univariate analysis function. And we're going to group by the branch, right? We're going to group by branch, and then the interested column that you're interested in is going to be the gross. This is going to be the gross income column. So if you look here, you can see the gross income column. If you just look at the data set, you have the gross income column right here. So interested in the gross income column by branch. So we group by each branch, and then from each after grouping it, we get the gross income for each of those branches, and then you're going to simply pass in the title, which is the title just mean gross profit. Let me just get gross profit by branch. Okay, so now that you have that, I'm just going to say gross income underscore income, and then income underscore data. Let's type that out and then print it. Now that's returned to us a dictionary. So we have the gross income of each of those branches. So that's basically it. So now let's go ahead and just check the univariate analysis for the gender. Okay, so the gender. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to create a cell, and this is going to be 3. So I'm going to call it gender. Yeah, so actually I think we did this already, cells by gender. We already did that already. So let's actually try to get the product line by total cells. So product line by total cells, just like that. So run that. So in here, I'm going to go ahead and do, I'm going to say product underscore line, product line line by underscore total underscore cells is going to be equals to univariate analysis. So univariate analysis, a univariate data analysis function. So we want to group by the product line. So we want to group each into its own product line. So if you look here, a product line is a column that we have in our data set right here. We call it product line. So there can be a health product line, there can be a beauty product line, electronic accessories, home and lifestyle, all of those product lines. So basically we're just going to group by product line, and then for each of those product lines you want to get the total, right? The column that you're interested in is the total sales, right? We pass in total, and then you're going to go ahead and specify the title. So I'm going to say product line by total sales, just like that. So once I have that, I can simply go ahead and print product underscore line and by total source, and then if you run that, now that's returned to us the different product lines. So we have a food and beverages product line, sports and travel products line, electronics product line, and then for the data we have the number of sales for each of those products, and then finally we have the label, which is basically the title. Great. So once we have the product line, now let's take product line by the gross income. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and make another just hover here and then click on text, and let's make it a h3 tag, and I'm going to say product line by gross income. Okay, so to do that, what I'm going to go ahead and do is just going to say product underscore line underscore by underscore gross underscore income, and this is going to be the following. So I'm going to say univariate data analysis, and you're going to say which what are you interested. We're going to group by the products, right? The product line. So we group by each product line, and for each of those product lines, I want to find the gross income for each of those product lines. So we say interested column is going to be gross product line, and that will say product line by gross income, just like that. And once I have this, I can simply go ahead and do product underscore line underscore by this is actually gross by gross income, just like that, and we run that. So once I run this code now, okay, I'm getting an error. Let's say product line by is not defined, so product line by gross income. Okay, did I get the spelling wrong? So let me just copy this and paste it right here, and then run this again. Okay, product line by gross income. Okay, I actually made an error, right? Instead of keeping a equal sign, right, an assignment operator, I use a colon, which is actually wrong. So once I have this done, you can see the different product lines and how much gross profit, gross income we got from each of those product lines, right? Okay, like which of the product lines are more profitable to us, which of them are not, and all that information. And you're going to use that to plot the graphs later on when we move into the front end section. Okay, so once we have this done, let's actually check the product line by rating, like which product line has the best rating, like the best performing product line. So let's actually do that, and I'm just going to make another text here, and I'm going to give it a history, and I'm going to say product line by rating. Okay, just like that. And what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to say products underscore line underscore by underscore rating, and this is going to be equals to the univariate data analysis. And you're going to group by, you're going to group by the product line, and then which columns you're interested in is going to be the rating column. So I'm going to say rating, and if you look at the data set, you have another column called the rating, so you can search that information here, rating, right here. Right, so we're going to group by the different product lines and find the average rating of all of those. Okay, so and then from there I want to go ahead and simply return I'm going to go and simply return the product line by rating. Okay, so once I have this, I can go ahead and actually print this. Also, I can say product underscore line underscore by underscore rating, and then run that, and let's see what we get. So we get the product line by rating, but now you can see the rating, I think is moves between, what's the maximum here? I think it's around 10, right? Between 1 and 10, that's basically the rating. But now if you look at it, we just added all of them up and we have this huge value. So what you can simply do is you can select select the column that you want, which is going to be the data column, right? And basically, sorry, this is going to be string data, right? You're going to select this column, and then we want to divide it by the number of ratings that we have, right? So that's to get an average rating. So you can divide it by the length of this data set, and if you check, you can check the length of the data set, you can check, or you can just write the code to get that information. You can do df shape, and that should return to us the number of rows and number of columns. So we have 1000 rows, so you can divide this by df shape, and then you're interested in the very first one. That's basically it. So I'm just gonna copy this information, and then just scroll up here. So let me just expand this again. We export data analysis. Now I'm going to go into the function definition. We have done that already. Now we're inside of the product line by rating. Okay, so I'm just going to go in here, and I was here, so I'm just going to go down here in here, and let's run this all, and let's see what we get back. So it says that now how can you divide every element instead of this list? So you can use list comprehension for this, right? So you can use a list comprehension and then divide all of those elements if you want. So basically you can just use a list comprehension if you want, but let's actually use a list comprehension, and I'll just explain something to you just in a second. So I'm going to go down here. Okay, so let me just bring my cursor here. So I'm just going to say data. I'm just going to call it roughly data for now, and this is going to be a list comprehension. So I'm going to say for total underscore rating. Okay, let me done this wrong. I'm just going to move to this side of list. So I'm going to say for total underscore rating in this, right? So you're going to get each total rating, and you're going to say total underscore rating divided by, right? You're going to say df shape. You're going to grab the very first one. That's basically it, right? So for each of these total ratings, so you're going to grab each of the total ratings from the data column, and then you're going to divide it by the number of rows instead of the number of total ratings that you have added up, basically. And if I run this, and you can go ahead and just print out the data right here before you run it. So if you run it now, you should now get data as this. So we'll get the total rating of each of those, right? But whenever I do this, I don't think the data rating is really correct, right? Yeah, so what I simply decide to do is just to leave it to be there, to leave it as we got back. So let's say product underscore line underscore by underscore rating, just like that, and I want to leave it to be just like this. Okay, so if you think of any way you can do handle this, it's fine, but for me I'm just going to leave it like this. Okay, so if anything that you want to do, then that's fine. You go ahead and do it. Okay, so if you have any question, you can let me know in the comment section below. Okay, so now let's go ahead and try to see the mostly used payment method. Okay, so on which payment method do customers mostly use whenever purchasing products from the supermarkets, okay, and or its branches. So I'm going to say payment, so payment method. Okay, so to do this, what I'm going to simply say, I'm going to say payment underscore method method equals to, I'm going to say univariate data analysis function. You're going to group by the payment method. So if you check the data set, payment method is a column that we have, and you're going to grab the total sales, and then you're going to simply do the title, and the title is going to be payment method by total payment, just like that. That may not be the best title, but yeah. So payment underscore method, just like this. So once I have this, I can simply run it, and let's see what we get back. So we have the different payment methods like cash, e-wallet, the credit card, and how much total sales we made by using each of those, like how much payments were made using each of those payment methods. That's basically it. Yeah, so let's move on and try to find what I want to do right now is actually write the code to find something else. So I want to go ahead and actually find the product line by quantity, right? How many which of the product lines did we sell the most at? Which of the product lines does the supermarket sells most at? So we say product underscore line underscore by underscore quantity, right? And this is going to be equals to univariate data analysis function. You're going to be interested in the product line, and then I want to group, which column that I'm interested in is the quantity column, and then I'm going to pass in the title, and the title is going to be product line by product line by quantity. Yeah, that's basically it. And then down you can do product underscore line underscore by quantity, and then just run that. So let's see that together. So we have each product line and the quantity, like how many goods or how many products were sold in each of those product lines. Okay, good. So now as we have that, now I want to go ahead and grab the shopping hours, like each of these businesses. I want to grab the shopping hours, right? Like, well, so that I can find out in which hour of the day that is shopping does like more sales occur at. Okay, that's basically what I want to find out. So I'm going to create bins right here, and these bins are going to be using to group our data. So we're going to group our data from 0 to 12, right? From 12 to 18, from 18 to 24. Okay, so from 0, this is from midnight, right, until noon, right? And then from noon until 6 p.m, and then from 6 p.m until midnight. Okay, so when the day begins until midday, and then from midday until 6 p.m, from 6 p.m until midnight. So I want to group the data into these 3 different categories, right? So I'm going to say labels is going to be equals to, you're going to have a label for it. So from 0 hours to 12:00 hours, that's going to be the morning, right? So I'm going to say morning, and then from 12:00 hours to 18:00 hours, that's going to be daytime, so we're going to call it daytime. And then from 18:00 hours to 24:00 hours is going to be evening. So you can come up with your own timing, but I'm going to keep it just in this morning, day, and evening. Okay, let's say df, and I'm going to create another column, and I'm going to call this column, I'm going to call it daytime. And for daytime, I'm going to say pd.cut, right? You're going to cut x is going to be equals to df, and you're going to say df dot the hour column, so df dot hour. And I'm going to say bins is going to be equals to our bins we created above, and I'm going to say labels, and the labels are going to be labels that you're going to create, labels created above. And then you're going to have include underscore lowest, the lowest value, so include lowest, and we're going to say this is going to be true, true right here. So once I have that, I can simply do a df.head. So once I have that, I can simply run the code, and yeah, great. So now we should have another column called let me just get the name of that column. So that column should be called datetime. So now daytime, let's look for it. So it should be at the end. So we have daytime, so you can tell us this. Okay, you see the hour was 13 hours, that's daytime. 10:00 hours, that is morning. 13:00 hours, that's day. 20:00 hours, that's evening, and then some and so forth. So that's basically what I want. So once I have this done, I want to go ahead now and grab the information that I want. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the shopping time. So I'm going to do shopping underscore time, and shopping time is going to be equals to df.group group by, right, and I'm going to group by branch, right. So I'm going to group by branch, and once I group by branch, I'm going to group by the day time, which is a column that you created, and I'm going to simply go to get the value underscore counts, right, the value counts of each, and I'm going to just run shopping underscore time. So I'm going to group by each branch, and for each branch you're going to get the shopping like the how many shopping the shopping of each branch. So you have branch A, which has how many shopping occurred during the day was 185. The number of shopping that occurred in the morning was 106. In the evening, branch A had a shopping of 409. So it looks like as from day that's when most of the shopping occurs, right, from the data, and then followed by the morning, and then evening is the list for each of those branches, right. Yeah, but now I want to go ahead and actually be able to put this in a dictionary, and then be able to export the dictionary out. Okay, so I'm going to say shopping underscore time is going to be equals to shopping time, sorry, and you're going to grab A, which is this. A is an index here, so I'm going to grab A, which is going to return to us day, morning, evening. We're going to get that data. We're going to say dot to list, and then if I run that, let's see what we get. So now you can see it turns to us the data 180, and then 106, and then 49. That's basically it. So once I have this data, now I'm going to go ahead and now put this inside of a dictionary. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and say final underscore shopping shopping underscore time underscore data, and this is going to be equals the following. So I'm going to say we're going to have a label, so labels rather, so labels, and the labels is going to be the following. So the labels is going to be a list. We're going to have branch A, right, that's our first branch, and then you're going to have branch B, and you're going to have branch C, right. So we're going to have those three branches. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to say for index in going to be a list, right. So it will be an index is going to be the index of this output. You're going to say A, right, and then B, and then string C. Okay, so we're going to say result is going to be equals to, we're going to simply say dictionary. So we have label, and the label is going to be we're going to say A, right, and then you're going to say data, and the data is going to be equals to shopping. Okay, I think I made a mistake here. So the label, right, it is supposed to be label and not label. So the label is going to be the index. So I'm going to say index, and then you're going to say shopping underscore time time, right, and you're going to go ahead and grab the index, right, and after grabbing the index, we're going to convert it to a list right there. Okay, once we do that, I'm going to say final underscore shopping shopping time time data. You're going to grab the index. I'm going to say index is going to be equals to the result, just like that. So I'm going to run this, and that should do that for us. And now if you do final shopping time delta, and then run that, let's see what we get. So now we get back a dictionary. We have branch A, which has a data of that much, branch B is data, branch C is data. You don't have the different labels which are going to be used for the labels. We have branch A, branch B, and that. So we can also actually pass in the title here if you want. We can just say label and then pass in the title here. So you can say label label, and the label is going to be the following. So the label is going to be shopping. So shopping as one, or a shopping hours, just call it as rate or something, I don't know, let's just call it anything. So once I write that, now you can see we have now the label which you can use for the title instead of the front end. So great, that's basically it. That's basically what I want to do. You can get more information from this data set if you want, but I'm just going to keep it simple to this level, the way we analyze the data and then be able to extract the information that we want. Okay, so we're going to use all this information in the front end. You can see product, shopping by income, all this we're going to use it in the front end later on. So this graph actually interactive. You can play with this graph, do different stuff with the graph and all of that. So it's actually interactive graph, and for now what we need to do is build the API, and the API is what is going to return to us the data that we are going to send to the front end to get the information we want back. Okay, yeah, so let's go ahead and do that. So what I want to go ahead and do is we've go ahead and build the API, and then you're going to take the code from here and use the code instead of our API. So this will help us to analyze the data. Now that you have the data, we can now build the API, which is going to return the information that we want. So we're going to be using a library called FastAPI. So I'm just going to go here and just say FastAPI, just like that, and you can search FastAPI online. Go with the first link. Once it's here, this is the library that we're going to be using, and that FastAPI is a Python library that you can use to build back-end application. Basically what we can use to build APIs. Okay, so if you've watched, I have a lot of tutorials on FastAPI on my YouTube channel, so if you are interested in back-end development, you can check those tutorials out. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and actually install FastAPI and get started with it. So I'm just going to go instead of my terminal. I'm just going into my terminal. I'm just going to exit for now, and I'm also going to go in here, and I'm also going to exit this application for now. Okay, clear that, and I can make this a bit bigger so you guys can see. So once I'm done, I'm just going to navigate backwards and then change directory into my tutorials folder, and then once I'm in here, I'm just going to clear this, and I'm going to make another directory. I'm going to call it Chartjs, Nextjs, fast API tutorial. Okay, you can call it anything you want. So that's a bit of long name, but yeah, that's basically it. So I'm going to change directory into my my folder, so you can see that now I have nothing instead of it, right? So I'm going to go ahead and create a Python virtual environment, and to create a virtual environment in Python, the command is different from one operating system to another. In this case, I'm just going to be going with I'm going to be using, I'm on Linux machine. So this command that I'm going to write here is going to work for Linux and Mac users because they're both Unix systems. But if you're on Windows, the command is going to be different. So you can just Google how to create a virtual environment on Windows and then do that. Okay, but for now I don't have a Windows machine to show this to you, so I'm going to be using the Linux command. So feel free, if you want to create a virtual environment, fine, you can just install the library in your global Python environment. But it's always a good practice to create a virtual environment for all your project, right? To keep your project dependencies separate from your Python global dependencies, right? So I'm just going to go ahead and be using a virtual environment. Okay, so to create this, I'm just going to say Python 3 -m VNV and VNV. So I'm going to call my virtual environment VNV. So this could be anything you want. It could be anything you want, but I'm just going to call it VNV. But the remaining commands here, the first 3 commands must be the same, but this could be anything you want. But I'm going to call my VNV. And once I'm done running that, so I actually do an ls. That's basically it. So once I run that command, you can see I have a folder called VNV here right here instead of my terminal. You can see this folder right here. So it's a Python virtual environment. But I actually made a mistake, so I'm going to go ahead and remove it. So I want to keep it in a folder called backend folder. We're going to write our API. So I'm going to say rf, and I'm going to simply say VNV and then run that. So it's going to delete my virtual environment folder. So I'm going to create another file here. So once that we have that deleted, I want to go ahead and actually create another folder. So I'm going to say mkdir, and I'm going to call it backend. So backend, and I'm going to simply call it backend. So if I do an ls, now you can see I have a backend folder. So I'm going to change directory into my backend folder, and once I'm in there, you can see right now the folder is empty. So I'm going to run that command to run the code for that. So you can to loop through the commands you've already used, we just press the arrow, use the top and down arrow keys to return the command. So I'm going to return the one for creating the virtual environment, and once I run that, that's going to go ahead and create a virtual environment. And if I do an ls, you can see the virtual environment there. So an ls equivalent in Windows is dir. For MacBook is also ls, but for Windows is dir. Okay, so if you're on Windows, use dir. If you're on MacBook and Linux, use ls. Okay, so if you are new to the basics of if you want to learn the command line commands for Linux and MacBook, I have a whole tutorial on it, so check that out on my channel page. Okay, so once I have that, I'm going to go ahead and deactivate my Conda environment. I just noticed that it is open, so my Conda environment, you can see it's here, right here. So I want to deactivate it, but in your case you might not have an Conda installed on a machine. That's fine, but in my case I have an Anaconda installed, so I'm going to deactivate my Anaconda environment. So Anaconda is a library used for, it's just a something used for data science. I don't want to talk about it in depth. So to deactivate my Conda environment, let's say Conda deactivate. So if you don't have Conda activated on a machine, don't worry, you can see down this is just for me because I have an Anaconda installed, active, already open. So if you don't have an Anaconda installed, or you don't see the base on in front of your terminal right here, don't run this command. Okay, so I'm just clear terminal. Once we have that done, let's zoom in one more time. So once we have that done, I'm just going to go ahead and activate my virtual environment. So to activate it, again, the command that I'm going to use here is going to work for Linux and MacBooks, but if you're on Windows, it's going to be different. So do a quick Google search of how to activate a virtual environment in Windows. Okay, so the command I'm going to use is only for Linux and MacBook users. Okay, so I'm going to say source /bin/bin/activate and then run that. So once I have my virtual environment activated, now I can go back to my here and then simply copy this command to install FastAPI. So copy it. Once I have it copied, I'm going to copy it and then just move to the side and then do paste it here and run that command. So that should go ahead and install FastAPI for me. So once that's done installing, I'm going to go here and simply copy this command. This command is needed to install UVCon, and UVCon is a server used to run the server, basically the back end, the server that runs our API. So I'm just going to copy that, move here, and then simply hit Ctrl and L to clear the terminal. In Windows is in Windows you type CLS. If you're on MacBook and Linux, you have to type clear. Okay, so once I have that, I'm just going to go ahead and simply paste it here and then run that command. So that should go ahead and install UVCon for us as well. So great, everything is installed as needed. So once we have everything already installed, we also need to go ahead and install one more thing, which is called Pandas. And if you notice, we are using Pandas instead of our notebook right here. So if I go, you'll see we're using Pandas. So I want to go ahead and install Pandas. So I just say pip install Pandas, and that should it's actually pip install Pandas, just like that. Make sure I get the spelling right. So that should go ahead and install Pandas on our machine. Okay, so Pandas comes with NumPy also installed, so you can see NumPy is also being installed right here. So once we have all that installed, I can just simply go ahead and go to my Visual Studio Code, or feel free to use any editor that you're comfortable working with. Okay, so once I'm in here, I'm just going to go ahead and create I'm going to call this main.py file. We're going to write our program. So instead of my main.py file, that's we're going to be going ahead and writing our program. So what we need to do is we need to do a couple of things. We need to import FastAPI, and then from FastAPI we go ahead and actually build the API that is going to return a response. So if you go ahead on the official documentation, you can find all that information on the official documentation of FastAPI. So I'm just going to go down here and you can find all that information right here. So I'm just going to copy all of this, copy this, and just go ahead and simply paste it in here. So great. So I don't need this type hints thing, just delete that. So that's all we need. So if you run this app, you just imported from FastAPI, we imported this class called FastAPI, and we created an instance of it called app, and we're saying app.get, and it's going to return a hello world. So if a person goes to /, which is the root directory, the root path rather, is going to simply the root route is going to simply get a hello world back, just like that. So to run this, let me just go back inside of my terminal. Let me see, let me just move actually this to another page. So I'm going to move this to another window. Okay, and then yeah, so it's like that. So I'm going to go in here, and then I'm going to do an ls. You can see you have main.py. So we say python 3 and then -m sorry, you have to say, rather I made a mistake here. So I will say UVCon and then main and then main : app, and then hyphen reload. So uvcon is the library that we just installed. Remember, we installed uvcon, so let me just get the spelling right. So uvcon, and then main, and then colon app. So what does app mean? So app is a name that we give to our instance here, right? So if you call it something different here, then you also have to use that name that you used there also here, right? But in our case, we call it app. We call it app here. So even if you go here, you're going to use the word app, and then hyphen reload is just a flag that enables our server to reload whenever you make changes to our file, so you don't have to continuously restart our server over and over again. So you can see it's running on localhost at port 8000. So you can just click copy this link, paste in your terminal instead of your browser, and you get back this page right here. So if you can zoom in, and you can see you get back hello world right here. So great, that's basically it. So you can actually just zoom it back to 100. So you can actually just go in here and just go to /docs, and then just go to docs, and you can see the official documentation for so FastAPI gives you a documentation that you can work with. So you can see this one right here. You can, instead of like using tools like Postman, test your API, you can test your API right here in the browser, and that's one of the beauties of FastAPI. So if I just click on execute, we get back the response, is just hello world. We get back a 200 response telling us everything was okay, and just return hello world, and this is what we specified right here. Great. So now that you have the basics of just a quick basics of what FastAPI is, now let's go ahead and simply run the code to build our application again. So to do that, what I'm simply going to go ahead and do, we have imported FastAPI. I also want to go ahead and import pandas as PD, and I'm also going to import, I'm going to say okay, I'm going to say from FastAPI.middleware .chorus, we're going to import chorus middleware. So chorus middleware allows us to use chorus. Basically, since our this is pandas, okay, so since our API is going to be running on we're going to be making a request to our API from the front end, which is port 3000. We'll be running on port 3000. So we need to allow access to our API from different ports. Okay, so in this case, you're going to allow ports from all origins. So we're going to say origins, and the origins, you're going to allow access from all the origins. So we're going to say string of asterisk, means that any endpoint can make access to our API. Okay, so we say app.add underscore middleware. Okay, and the middleware that we're going to go ahead and add is the course middleware, and then you're going to go ahead and specify allow origins. So allow origins, origins, and this is going to be equals to origin. Okay, and you're going to say allow credentials, and that's going to be true, and you're going to say allow underscore method, allow underscore methods, and the allow methods is going to be a list of all methods. We're going to allow all methods, a get method, a post method, and all of that. Okay, so if you're new to the base of APIs, then you can check out other tutorials. I have other tutorials talking about the basics of API, but you don't need to know those basics to follow along in this tutorial. Okay, but I'm not going to go into depth explanation of all of this. Okay, so that's basically what we need, and let's check if our API is still running. So I'm just going to go in here and simply check if our API is still running. So okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and actually activate my go ahead and actually run the code again. So once I run the code again, we get in this era of allow methods. So allow headers, actually here is supposed to be headers and not header. So yeah, once I have that change, and let's see, now our app is running again, so everything is fine. So great. So if I go back here, now everything is working as it should, and yeah, we are on track. So great. You can click on try out and then execute this, just return to just hello world. Okay, okay, so now that we have all that set up, so what I want to go ahead and do right now is actually go ahead and download the file that you have been using so far. So you can go on Google, you can go on this website right here. This link is going to be in the description. Download this file and then load this file into memory. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on download and then download the file. I already have this file already in place, so I'm just going to go ahead and simply copy the file. I'm just going to copy it. I already downloaded it already, so I'm just going to go ahead and paste it where it needs to be. So I'm just going to, okay, let me just select this, bring this back, and then I'm going to go into content, go into my tutorials this way, and then back end I'm going to simply go ahead and paste it here. Okay, so supermarkets underscore sales.csv file. Okay, So once that is downloaded, I'm going to go back into my VS Code, and instead of my VS Code, I'm going to go ahead and read that file. Okay. So to read the file, I'm just going to df, and it's going to be equals to pd.read underscore csv, and then simply pass in the name of that file, which is supermarket market underscore sales.csv, which is this right here, right? Supermarket sales.csv. And once I have that, I'm going to do df dot you can do df.head if you want, but I'm not going to do that here. So I'm going to go ahead and process the date. So I'm going to say date, and the date is what we have this processed here. So if I go back into my Google Colab notebook and I go back in here, we process the date, right? So after loading the data, we went ahead and did some data pre-processing, right? So we're just going to go in here and then press the date. So I can copyright this right here and then go back in here and simply paste it here. So paste it here. And also we work with the hour. So I also want to go ahead and grab the code for the hour, right? Grab the hour, copy that, and simply go ahead and paste it here. Yeah, that's basically it. So once we have this done, I'm going to go ahead and actually get our function back. So this function which deals with getting us the data, the univariate analysis function. So univariate data analysis function, I'm going to copy that and then move in here and simply go ahead and paste it here. But now I'm going to make this a asynchronous function. So to make this a synchronous function, we're just going to go ahead and say async, async, just like that. So that's how you can make a function asynchronous in Python, right? Because this thing of reading and pressing a file can take some time, so we give it make it asynchronous. Okay, now let's go ahead and actually get the shopping data itself and also put it inside of a function. So if I go here, we have this shopping information, the one for the shopping one. If I scroll here, so I want to grab all of this and put it inside of a function, and then we can use that function instead. Okay, so I want to grab all this information and put it inside of a function. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy every code right here, copy it, and then move back here. So I'm going to have a function below here. So I'm going to call this, going to be an async function again, and I'm going to call it get underscore shopping underscore hour underscore data, right? So shopping hour data, and you're going to paste the code right there. So paste that there, and let's go ahead and actually fix this indentation. So fix the indentation right here. Okay, so once we have this done, that's basically, so this is a function. I forgot the def keyword. So yeah, so once I have this done, now let's go ahead and grab the other part of the code which I need, and let's see which one we need to grab. Okay, so let's see, we're going to say shopping. Let me just see where we have reached so far. So we have reached this part. You're going to simply go ahead and say shopping underscore time is going to be equals to df dot group by. So we're going to group by, and then we're going to group by the branch. So we're going to group by branch, and then you're going to go ahead and grab the daytime. So daytime, and then you're going to simply go ahead and say that value counts, just like that. Get the value counts. So I'm going to say final. All this is on our page, so let me just go ahead and actually copy this. So let me just go here so you don't waste much time, because I already spent a lot of time here. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab all of this, the rest of this, copy this, and simply go back here and simply delete this, and I'm going to replace it there. So let me go ahead and fix the indentation. So select all of this and just press tab on your keyboard to indent that. Okay, and also here we need to indent this as well, so indent this as well. Okay, so we have that already done. So once we have that, I can just simply go ahead and simply return final shopping time delta. Yeah, this one. So that's basically it. So that's now we have our functions done. So now what so we have our basic layout done. So let's go ahead and actually create a function that's going to read for us the data that we want. So we can just leave this as get, we can just call it get data or something. Let's make it underscore get data. So we can give it a route here if you want. You can just say get data or / analysis route, but I'm just going to leave this with a /. So I'm just going to delete that for now. Instead, I'm just going to leave it as an empty dictionary. So what I'm going to say, the first you're going to get the, let me just tap this inside. So we're going to grab and go ahead and see the sales sales per month, sales per branch rather, sales per branch. And let me just get a bit of space here. Okay, so you say total total underscore sales by branch, or per branch underscore branch is going to be the univariate. Is going to be, you're going to await this function. Okay, so to use the await keyword, then this function needs to be asynchronous, right? So we're going to say async, just like this. So that's how you can use asynchronous programming in when you're using FastAPI. And more of this, I have other videos that explain this in depth, but I'm not going to go over them. So sorry, just done the wrong thing. So here I'm going to go ahead and simply pass in the branch total, and then total, let me get the spelling right, so total. And also here I'm going to go ahead and simply say total okay, total sales per branch, just like that. Okay, and then down here I'm going to have another thing. I'm going to say sales by gender, just like that. And I'm going to say sales underscore by underscore gender. I think we have all this code already written on our Google Colab document. So let me just actually get that information so you don't waste time. So I'm going to grab sales sales by gender. So sales by gender, right here you have it. So I'm just going to go ahead and simply let me see. Okay, we didn't actually analyze that, so let me just go right here and simply type it out. Sales by gender, I'm going to say await. I'm going to do the univariate function. I'm going to pass in the gender, so I'm going to grab the gender, group by gender. We're going to group by gender, and the column that you're interested in is going to be the total, and then you're going to be the title, and it will be called sales by gender. Okay, yeah, so that's once we have that, we can go ahead and actually call the other function, which is going to be the gross income, gross profit, and just call it gross profit by branch. So the gross profit from each of those branches. And to do that, I think we already have this already written, so let me just go ahead and copy it from here. So gross profit by branch, we're just going to go ahead and grab this function right here, copy it, and simply go ahead and simply paste it here. That's it, gross profit by branch. And the next thing we need is going to be the product line by sales. So product line by sales, and you can grab that again from the Colab document. So product line by sales, yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and grab it here. So grab that, so I'm going to copy that and simply go back in here and paste it here. So paste it here. So I'm going to paste it here, and then we can go back and grab the what we need next. The next one we need is going to be product line by gross profit. So it's going to make a comment here. So product line by gross profit. Okay, profit. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab that. So product line by gross profit or gross income. Just going to expand this and simply copy the code from here. So select that whole line and simply copy that and move here and simply paste it here. Good. So the next thing I'm going to be interested in is going to be this is going to be the product line by rating, and you can get that from here. So let's quickly go ahead and get that product line by rating. Simply copy this and then simply go ahead and paste it here. And the next thing I'm going to be interested in is going to be the payment method. So it's going to be payment method, and we can grab that information from here. Payment method, I'm just going to grab that information here. Okay, copy that and then go back in here and simply paste it here. And what you're going to be interested in next is going to be the product underscore line, product line by quantity, just like that. So let's quickly go ahead and grab that. Product line by quantity is this function right here. Copy that and simply go back in here and paste it here. And the next thing I'm going to be interested in is going to be the product line by quantity. Let's say the busy shopping hour. So shopping hour, and this is going to be going to simply call it shopping hour, underscore data, and the shopping hour data is going to be await. You're going to await this. I'm going to say get shopping data, just like that. That's all we need. It is going to return to us the shopping data. So what do we go ahead and return it? So we're going to go ahead and return a dictionary. We're going to have data, and the data is going to be another dictionary, and you're in there going to have the total underscore sales underscore spa underscore branch. So just like that, and I'm going to go ahead and say total sales per branch, and you're going to have sales underscore by gender underscore by gender, and this is going to be sales by gender, and you're going to have gross income underscore data, and this is going to be gross income data, and you're going to have product underscore line product line. Okay, so basically let me just go and actually speed up this because we're wasting a lot of time here. So I already have all this already written, so I'm just going to go ahead and simply grab it and paste it there so that we don't waste a lot of time typing out the same things over and over again. So copy that and just go back in here, select everything. I'm just going to replace this whole return statement with what you have copied, and yeah, that's basically it. So return. Yeah, so shopping, this is actually shopping hour, so shopping hour, and this is going to be payment method. I don't have that right here. So payment method, variable payment method. So going to await this, so await this. Even these ones you have to await all of them. So await, my bad, I didn't call await on all of this, so we have to call await on all of them, so my bad. So await, because we're using this can take some time, so we have to await on this process. So yeah, that's right. Yeah, we have awaited on all the, even here we have to await yeah. So payment method, just going to copy that and simply paste it here. So payment method and not payment methods. Yeah, so that's basically our API, and let's check if it's running. So it is running, and let's go ahead and check it out in the browser, and we can go in here and refresh this, and let's see, now we have get data route. So if we click on that, if I click on try out, so try out, so if I click on try out and then execute this, now that should return to us all the data that we need. So you can see all the data that we need. So we're going to use all this data to plot an API, as to plot the graphs that you're going to be covering in the next tutorial, and learn how to plot these graphs using this API from here. And we're going to be using Chartjs. So if you guys are new to the channel, please kindly consider subscribing, liking this video, and sharing this content with anyone who you think might find it helpful. Okay, thanks for watching, and see you in the next one. Keep safe.